Okay, first of all, hang on. Don't ever, and I mean ever, come out here and defend Mike Tomlin to me again. The last 3 weeks, look at what is going on. I mean, these last 3 games he played should have been gimmies. He played against back-to-back backup quarterbacks, a rookie at that, and now against the Arizona Cardinals team who is basically just going through the motions for a draft pick. Sorry, the weather up here makes my throat dry. But anyway, after this game, how can anybody sit here and defend Mike Tomlin? But you know what? If this was Mike McCarthy, he would be getting ridiculed beyond belief. This is the point I'm trying to make. Mike Tomlin's not a good coach. If he was a good coach, he wouldn't have lost at home to a 2-10 garbage Cardinals team. This is ridiculous. I mean, this is just unacceptable. Yeah, you know what? They beat the Bengals, but I've been saying, listen, if Joe Burrow, first of all, would have been playing that game, we'd have beat that team by 20, even with our shitty defense and everything like that. I mean, you see now they struggled. Fortunately for them, we have no freaking defense at all. I mean, you can walk on our defense. It's freaking pathetic. But anyway, Mike Tomlin, once again, in crunch time, proves he's not equipped. He's not equipped. I mean, come on, people. If we're going to hold people accountable, you know why nobody calls out Mike Tomlin? I'll tell you why it is. It's because he's African American. And in this day and age, you can't say nothing to an African American right now, especially if you're a white guy, without being called a racist. That's why no one's calling out Mike Tomlin. Terry Bradshaw called him out a few years back, but nobody will call out Mike Tomlin. You know why? Like I just told you, African American. If Mike Tomlin is not the definition of black privilege, I don't know what is. I mean, guys, these last 3 games should have been gimmies. He lost to a backup rookie quarterback. He would have lost to Jake Browning, but like I said, fortunately, the Bengals have no defense whatsoever, and he still struggled, and now he loses at home to a 2-10 Cardinals team? Are you kidding me? You basically just handed the division to the Ravens. Make no mistake about it, they were going to win the division anyway, but you guys are supposed to be one of the best teams in the AFC North. And based off what we've seen the last 3 weeks, you have no business even being in the playoffs. None. Zero. You'll get there by default because the rest of the AFC sucks, but, oh man, if Joe Burrow would have been playing, we would have beat the Steelers by 20. At least. And this is just a indictment that Mike Tomlin is one of the most overrated coaches ever. I mean, he lost to a backup rookie quarterback. He struggled against a Bengals team that is totally depleted with no defense and no offensive line. Should have lost that game. And now he goes back home in a very important game, competing for the AFC North, and he blows it against a 2-10 Cardinals team? Give me a break. How is this guy a good coach? How? He's got 1 Super Bowl. And make no mistake, let's look at the last Super Bowl. If Larry Foote and Dick LeBeau don't have a... First of all, Dick LeBeau had a defense that you couldn't beat. I admit, I dreaded playing the Steelers every time because of that defense. But if Larry Foote, I believe that was his name, Larry Foote doesn't return that 100-yard interception return, he loses that game too. Guarantee it. But like I said, Dick LeBeau and his defense bailed Mike Tomlin out of that one. Mike Tomlin, I don't understand how anybody thinks he's a good coach. He's not. I mean, he got handed a freezer full of prime rib. Who couldn't have won a Super Bowl with the frickin' Steelers in that era? I mean, the worst coach in the world, Hackett, Marvin Lewis could have frickin' won a Super Bowl with that Steelers team. Wow. I mean, Steeler fans, I'm not dogging you, but you got a problem, and it's Mike Tomlin. It's nobody else. Your coach is about the same thing as our owner. Mike Brown's a horrible owner. absolutely horrible, but you guys got a head coach problem. And you know what? They'll never get rid of him. Like I said, because he's African American, number one, and Steelers just don't fire coaches. Sorry, I was getting a little dry there. The Steelers just don't fire coaches. So if you're a Steeler fan right now, how could you be happy with this? You literally are competing for the AFC North, and basically it's given to you because you got two teams with backup quarterbacks and who are depleted. But you guys, in the last 3 weeks, honestly, you should have lost all 3 games. Yeah, you beat the Bengals, barely, and that's because you were playing a quarterback that hardly ever got a snap and a bottom 5 defense. So, no, don't ever come out and defend Mike Tomlin to me again. He is overrated. He is not a good coach. If he was a good coach, he wouldn't have lost to the Cardinals at home. That's literally just going through the motions for a draft pick. Oh, and by the way, I said a couple years ago when the Steelers were 11-0, what did they do? Even when they were 11-0, I didn't believe in them. That year, guess what? They lost to Ryan Finley. What, he passed for like 89 yards and Mike Tomlin lost to him? Tim Tebow has a playoff win because of Mike Tomlin. Think about that. Tim Tebow, probably one of the worst quarterbacks to ever play the game, can make one throw, and that is the exact throw that beat Mike Tomlin. He would have lost to A.J. McCarron, but Vontaze Burfict gave that game away. Who else has he lost to? I mean, it's just unacceptable. He loses at home to Blake Bortles and gets blown out at home against the Jaguars. Yeah, but they came back. Yeah, well, when the game was basically over, yeah, they came back. That's just unacceptable. How could Mike Tomlin be considered a good coach? How? He's won 1 Super Bowl. And like I said, it was because of Dick LeBeau's defense. And it was against the frickin' Cardinals, for God's sakes. And a washed-up Kurt Warner. They had no business even being there. They were there by default because the rest of the NFC sucked that year. No, this is not a dog on the Steeler fans or the organization, but Mike Tomlin is not a good coach. If we're going to hold people accountable, Mike Tomlin is not a good coach. Like I said, if this were Mike McCarthy right now, and Mike McCarthy's not a good coach, I mean, honestly, he's just there because Jerry Jones can control him like a puppet. That's why Parcells left, because Bill Parcells wasn't like that, so he got rid of him. So, but Mike McCarthy is pretty much the same coach. Actually, he's better because Mike McCarthy beats Mike Tomlin, one-on-one every single time. I think maybe one time he didn't beat him. He beat him in the Super Bowl, and now with the Cowboys, I know that Mike McCarthy beats Mike Tomlin head-to-head every time. So, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, you got a problem, and it's Mike Tomlin. Because what you've done in the last 2 or 3 weeks is absolutely unacceptable. Anyways, bringing you picks soon. But yeah, Mike Tomlin, this goes back to my video I made earlier. This is what I'm talking about. Have a good night.